extraordinary, to stand out from the crowd, to make history. But what if women didn't have to be exceptional? What if they didn't have to be the first, the best, or the only woman? What if it wasn't extraordinary to be a female engineer? What if men and women could compete as equals? I don't want to make history. I don't want to be the only woman. I want to be one of many. This was a commercial ran by Mercedes-Benz for International Women's Day last year. I came across it one night as I was scrolling on my phone before I went to sleep. I ended up rewatching it a few times because this really hit home for me. I mean, this is what I imagine every girl dreams of. I know it's what I do. I dream of this world where I don't have to wonder if the fact that I am a woman is holding me back. I don't have to wonder if it's making it harder for me to accomplish the same things as my male counterparts. I dream of living in a world where when I answer the question of what are your plans after high school, I'm no longer met with looks of uncertainty. And I'm no longer treated like a naive little girl who doesn't really understand what it takes to get there. I dream of living in a world where I can compete as a true equal with my male counterparts. A world where I no longer need to reinvent myself to fit into this patriarchal view of what a woman should be to be deemed successful. But for now, that's all this world is. A dream. Now, as I got in front of you and I started talking about sexism, you might have been thinking that I was being a little bit dramatic. And that's okay, I don't blame you for it. In fact, it's not even completely your fault. You see, sexism and misogyny are embedded into our language, and therefore wired into our minds. Dr. Tom Mould, a professor of history, anthropology, and classics, noted that sexism in our language is often representative of these larger social systems. He says, if there is sexism, if there is misogyny, you are going to see it in the language. The trick is that it's often subtle, and so it's not always perceived. And this is when it becomes insidious, when we don't realize that it's happening. It's like when there's a woman in charge, oftentimes she is going to be dismissed as bossy. When she is talking about the things that she is passionate about, she is likely to be brushed off as dramatic or emotional. But we rarely hear of a man in charge or talking about the things that he is most passionate, described as dramatic, bossy, or emotional. The simple truth is that we just don't hear these words being used to describe men, but we do hear them being used to describe women. Women who are doing the exact same things as these men. But as a society, we attribute these negatively gendered words with women. And it's not only these words, but vulgarities as well, which are used to describe and define women with little to no male equivalent. This can be as simple as the word bitch being used to describe an unpleasant or powerful woman, or words like skank, slut, and whore, which are used to shame women for their sexuality. The very same thing that our society praises men for. There are even words and phrases that equivocate being a woman to being weak, cowardly, and powerless. These are words like pussy and phrases like no balls and robe hair, which insinuate that you must be biologically male to be strong, powerful, or brave. The true sickness of this is that yes, these words are being used to harm our women, but they are also being used to insult our men. Being compared to a woman, should never be an insult to anyone. Personally, I am terrified of these negatively gendered words. I've had many leadership roles all throughout my life. Right now, I'm my school's student body president. And granted, our school is still very new, I am also our very first female student body president. And there are some students that never let me forget that. At least once every couple months, I have to block new accounts on different social media platforms because of the messages I receive from my peers. These messages detail how they believe that I am the reason my school is falling apart, or the reason they aren't getting what they want out of different school activities. But funny enough, these messages always fail to address my leadership style and my communication skills. But the one thing that they never fail to address is the fact that I am a woman. And this is why I am terrified of these negatively gendered words. When I lead my meetings, I am hyper aware of the words I use and the tone I take, because I don't want anyone to be able to tell me that I am just bossy. When I am talking about the things that I'm most passionate about, I have to be careful because I don't want to come off as calculated. But I also don't want anyone to be able to tell me that I'm being dramatic or emotional. I've had this problem writing this very speech. How do I effectively portray the severity of the sexism that is still happening in our world today without being too much, so that you cannot tell me that I am just dramatic or emotional? Well, the truth is, this is a line every woman must learn to toe with the utmost agility. According to Project Dream Camp, starting at age 5, little girls stop believing that they can be the big thinkers of the world. And by age 7, they start believing that little boys are smarter than them. Parents are also 3 times more likely to buy their son a science-related toy than their daughter. And as a direct result, we see that women are going into STEM fields at a rate 2 times lower than that of their male counterparts. Parents are also twice as likely to Google, "Is my son gifted than is my daughter gifted?" Yet on an advanced placement test, we see that our daughters are outscoring our sons at a rate 2 to 1. This is a system of oppression, teaching our little girls that they will never be able to amount to the same level of success as their sons. And when it is taught to them from such a young age, it becomes so ingrained that it begins to feel like the only truth. So we need to come together and start at the beginning before the cycle is repeated. Our daughters need to grow up seeing women in positions of power in male-dominated fields. They need to know that they can and will unlock their full potential. Our daughters need to grow up knowing that they aren't different or weird for wanting big things for themselves, for wanting to be a scientist, an engineer, a CEO, or enlist in the military. We need to teach our daughters that it is normal for them to want these big things for themselves. It is normal for her to want the same for herself, as her brother wants for himself. There is a world where little girls grew up believing in their wildest dreams, where they grow up viewing themselves as powerful, intelligent, capable, and important. I believe this world exists somewhere in our future. As a society, we have been taking major steps in the right direction, but we still have a long way to go if we are to achieve this goal. We need to come together as parents and teachers, as brothers and sisters, to show our children, our sons and our daughters, they are capable of their wildest dreams. We need to stop using the gendered language that perpetuates these stereotypes that equivocate femininity to weakness. If we are able to do these things, I believe that one day I will be living in a world where the letter on my birth certificate no longer affects my success. A world where I truly am one of many. Thank you.